Hello everyone, Namaste. Welcome to another video from outfromindia.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience living at Claredale House in East London. It's a student accommodation where only postgrads and PhDs and second year undergrads are allowed to stay. Okay, so the way this video is structured is that first I will give you some essential facts about the accommodation, and then I will give you a very brief overview of what my experience was like, and then I will jump into the details of the accommodation. So some essential facts about the accommodation are that it's located in Bethnal Green, East London. They have different types of rooms. So they have big rooms that are known as room type A, and then they have smaller rooms that are room types B, C, and D. Room type D is the smallest room. I lived in a room type C, which cost me about £150 a week, which is roughly about 14,000 Indian national rupees. And the room was big enough. They had a huge study table. They had a double door wardrobe. They have a small cabinet. They had a big enough double bed, and they had a small window as well. The services are pretty decent. If you have any trouble, with anything that has to do with your room, like your heater, you're having trouble with the Wi-Fi, or you're having trouble with something wrong in the bathroom or in the kitchen, then they have a guy who fixes these things, so that is not a problem. They have a really good support system, so if you have any problems, or if you have any questions, if you have any queries, then the staff is really helpful. And they have two types of flats, 6-room flat and 4-room flat. So in a 6-room flat, you're sharing a room with 5 other people. You are the 6th person, and there are 2 bathrooms in a 6-room flat, and there is 1 bathroom in a 4-room flat. And in this accommodation, you are sharing the flat, not the room. So room is all to yourself, but you're sharing the common spaces like the bathroom, the common area, the kitchen, and stuff like that. They actually don't have a common area. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, now I'll talk about my overall experience living at Claredale House. So I would say that my experience was pretty decent. It was pretty nice. I had no trouble booking the accommodation, getting the contract and everything. And when I arrived in the UK, in London, I had no trouble in getting to the accommodation, and then getting the keys, and then getting to my room and stuff like that. So the process was really simple. And whenever I had any queries or whenever I had any questions, I could reach out to the staff. So they were really supportive. And in terms of the atmosphere, it's just a student accommodation, so the atmosphere is great. There are only students all around, and the best thing about this accommodation is that there is a courtyard. So the moment you enter the accommodation, you enter into a courtyard where you and several other students, your fellow students, can chill out and drink, smoke, and do stuff like that, and have a good time. So that is the best part. That's something that I really like about the accommodation. And it's a student atmosphere, so they're only students. You don't have to worry about safety or stuff. Mostly you're going to know who's who, because you know how it gets in a student hostel and stuff like that. There are rumors going around and stuff, and you know who is who. So it's a pretty nice place to live in, actually. So that's the overall experience. Now I'll get right into the details of the accommodation. So I'll first talk about the location. So it's Claredale House. Is located in East London, which is in Bethnal Green. It is close to the Bethnal Green tube station. Now I know that some of you would be a little worried about living in East London, but let me tell you, I lived there for about not 1.5 years, but roughly about 9 or 10 months, and I had no trouble whatsoever, because East London is not safe, that is true, but then it is not safe for people who are looking for trouble. So if you want to go into the no-go areas, or if you want to do something crazy or adventurous, then yes, it is not safe. However, if you stick to what you have to do, if you just, go to the tube station, come back and hang out with your friends and don't mess around with people who you shouldn't be messing around with, then you will be fine. So the location isn't too bad. And because my university, which is the Queen Mary University of London, is on Mile End Road, which is roughly about 30 minutes walk, or about 20 minutes by walking from the accommodation to the university, this accommodation was just the best for me. I did not have to spend any money in traveling to the university. So I would say it's pretty decent, and the location. Some people might think it's not safe. It is safe. I have lived there. Nothing happens. If you don't want trouble, you won't get it. That's as simple as that. About the accommodation itself, so they have different types of rooms, as I already mentioned. They have room type A, B, C, and D. So I think room type A costs about 200 or 220 pounds a week, which is roughly 18 or 19,000 Indian national rupees. It is quite a big and spacious room. One of my flatmates had that room. It's quite spacious, but I would still say that you don't actually need that extra bit of space. I mean, me, as I was living in room type C, and it just did fine for me. Room type D is a little too small. It just feels like you're living inside a box. So two of my flatmates were living in room type C, and they did not like it that much, but they got used to it after some time. So I think the prices start from about £140 a week, which is roughly about 13,000 rupees, to all the way up to 25,000 rupees per week, or 220 pounds a week. You can check that on their website. So that is that. And as I already said, you are going to be sharing a room, the flat, and not the room. The cost, I would say, if I have to talk about the cost, I would say the cost is not too expensive, considering that it's zone 3, I think. So it is not too expensive, and especially if you're studying at Queen Mary, or if you're studying even at Central London University, if you're studying at a university that is in Central London, I would say that it is still a decent accommodation. You're not paying humongous prices. You're getting services free of course, like Wi-Fi. They have a Hoover inside the office, so if you want to clean your room, you can borrow the vacuum cleaner and then clean your room. You do have to pay for washing. So washing costs about £2, £2 per wash, and £1 for drying. You do need to dry because there is absolutely no space inside the room to dry your clothes. So that is that. And I already talked about safety. It's not much big of a deal. It is unsafe. That area is unsafe. It's infamous for gang crimes and stuff like that. But then if you stay away from it, if you don't go out looking for it, you won't find it. The one thing that I really liked about this accommodation is the atmosphere. The atmosphere is purely student based, and it's just like you're living in a hostel. It's as simple as that. And you have everything, because you are living with fellow students, you get to interact with them more often. You get to make friendships more quickly, and it just feels safer. And yeah, that's that. I was just looking at the list. I have a list of the items that I was supposed to talk about. So I think I've talked about everything now, almost everything. So but if you still have any questions about this accommodation, or in general about the accommodation, you can always reach out to me. If you're looking for accommodation in the UK, then there is enough information about it on my website, outfromindia.com, which I will link up in the description box. And if you're a student who wants to move to the UK from India to study, then you should definitely check out outfromindia.com. You will find tons of articles about student life in the UK as an Indian. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.